So my social media planner wants me to talk about French leather today, but instead I'm going to talk about ocean leather. Don't tell her, otherwise I'm going to. So I am going a little bit rogue. Today was planned that I was going to be talking about French leather, but I've decided to shake things up a little bit because I really want to talk about ocean leather. It was something that was planned deeper in, but I've moved things around. But I promise, this coming Wednesday, I will be speaking about French leather, also from the house of MEMO, with Tash, and we're going to be blind smelling that. Anyway, why this guy? So I've had this, well, it was released last year in 2020, and I'm really surprised that there's not enough talk about this particular fragrance. I actually feel that this fragrance is just exceptional. Just to look at it from off the cuff, you think, oh yeah, ocean leather, therefore aquatic, aromatic, fresh, all that sort of stuff. But that's not the case. There's a sense of mystery to this fragrance. The moment that you spray, you do get, I guess, those, and I'll come back to that. But there is a sense of mystery. So this fragrance bounces around quite a bit. Now, what we've done, rather than me babbling on and then trying to picture or trying to conjure up a picture of what this fragrance is about, we actually developed this little video. So have a look at this and tell me, this was to basically capture the essence of this fragrance. So there you go. So it's aquatic. Obviously, if it's an ocean leather, there's a leather accord in there. How does that work when it comes to aromatic and fresh, or what we perceive to be fresh? Now, the other thing too that and this is why, again, I want to talk about today, is that this fragrance here plays amazingly in all seasons. I know that in the Northern Hemisphere, you guys are coming ready or getting ready to jump into summer. Whereas us down here in the Southern Hemisphere, it's autumn coming into winter, and now I'm in Melbourne, and we're getting all the seasons in that one cluster, in that one day. And so no matter where you are, weather-wise, this fragrance plays beautifully. So obviously I had it over our summer, and just to give you more clarification on that, in Melbourne, during summer, sometimes we get like ridiculously high temperatures. I mean, something in the 40s. I mean, 40, I think it's Celsius. Anyway, I'll put it here and I'll translate it so everybody knows what I'm talking about. But it's very hot. And I've worn this and it wears beautifully in warm weather. Recently, and because I knew that I wanted to review it today, I wore it recently. Now we had like a snap cold probably about 3 or 4 days ago here in Melbourne. It was freezing. It was like already winter had started. And I purposely wore this. It wears beautifully even in cold. So it's not, so again, you can't categorize this as a fresh aromatic because it wouldn't play so well in winter. All right, so let me jump straight into it. Let's talk about this. I'm gonna do 2 sprays. Honestly, the other thing I've found is that the house of MEMO doesn't get, I don't know, there's not enough talk about them. I'm going to put some links here. I've reviewed probably about 3 or 4 of their fragrances, and as I said, next Wednesday I will do French leather. I find that the entire house, they have a really broad collection. It does not get enough talk, enough publicity, doesn't get enough talking about. I actually think that this house is exceptional. They use awesome quality oils. They are a bit more expensive. And one thing that I hear a lot about is, oh, the price, but I don't get it. You know, it's like, it's a niche fragrance. They use good quality oils. The scent or the actual perfumes themselves are unique. So anyway, I have a lot of, I like this house a lot. Now, this fragrance here, let's talk about the notes. So opening notes starts very fresh. And the reason why I did 2 is because one of those opening notes in there is mandarin. And that mandarin comes out beautiful at the start, but it does go very quickly. It's very volatile. So opening notes are mandarin, it also has basil, and it has violet leaves. Now I find that the mandarin and the basil play quickly, all right? So you get that citrus, but already it's becoming a little bit herbaceous. Then in the heart note, It goes into things like sage, there's and cedarwood, and there's another fragrance or another ingredient they're called elemi. Now, I think it's the elemi that creates a bit more of the mystery to this particular fragrance. Now, elemi is a resin, and it has it almost has two kinds of personality. One is it's kind of has a lemony or citrusy sort of facet to it, but on the same hand, it also has a spicy, fresh, kind of pine sort of scent to it too. So it plays in both of these areas. Finally, in the heart or in the base note, it goes into the leather. Of course, it's a leather fragrance, vetiver and nutmeg. And I'm going to say that it's the nutmeg that creates this aromatic, still fresh, kind of spicy element to the fragrance. I'm still getting kind of those beautiful opening fresh notes in there. But the mandarin, to my nose, does sort of leave fairly quickly. And maybe it's the elemi, because I'm getting kind of a citrusy note in there, but I'm not getting the mandarin. On first spray, you can actually smell that mandarin note in there. Now, the fragrance is unusual because you think to yourself, this is going to fall in that, being that it's an ocean leather, that it's going to fall into that aquatic sort of aromatic, but it doesn't play in there long. It definitely is aromatic, but there's the spicy elements to it. The leather accord is very soft. It doesn't actually, I'm even going to go as far as saying it's more of like a suede accord. It's a very soft leather that's coming through. I've got a fairly good collection, and in that collection, I mean, there's a good broad range of different fragrances that I use in different areas. I find that this one here is exceptionally versatile. And as I mentioned before, no matter what season you're in, this fragrance plays really well. I also find that no matter what occasion I go to, whether it's to the office, whether it's going out on a date, I've been hard pressed to go, this one won't work. So if I'm going out for dinner or whatever it may be, this one, no, this fragrance is highly versatile. Now, let's talk about the business end to the actual fragrance itself. Longevity, here's another component to the mystery. All right, so there's two parts to this. Part number one, longevity, when I first sprayed it, I put on 3. And I do my usual on my chest, my abdomen, and my arm. And probably about 3 hours in, I'm like, I can't smell it anymore. And I could smell it on my arm, but I couldn't actually smell it on me itself. And so so then the next time I sprayed it, I actually put on 4 sprays, and on the other arm. I overkilled myself. It was way too much. What I should have done, and this is the part there is the mystery component to it. What I should have done is ask those around me, can you smell my perfume? The answer would have been yes. And the reason why I know this, a few days ago, one of my the work crew, we went out to a shoot, and he chose this as his fragrance. Now, probably would have sprayed it at about 10 o'clock. 3 hours in, he mentioned that he couldn't smell his perfume anymore, but I could smell it. So as we were moving around, I could actually pick up the ocean leather. That evening, when he jumped into the car, he mentioned to me earlier, when he jumped into the car, his wife actually commented, now this is probably about 8 o'clock, we'll say 7, 8 o'clock at night. She commented, I like your perfume today. So the fragrance projects beautifully. It does have wonderful and awesome longevity, but for some reason, after 3 or 4 hours, you can't actually smell it as strong on yourself. But others that are around you can actually smell it. So I'm going to put down longevity. Personally, around the 3 to 4 hours, you can smell it very comfortably. But for those around you, that sillage, the longevity, 8 hours plus. Now, I know that sounds weird because he's like, well, which one is it? Is it this or that? But that's my personal discovery on it. That's also the discovery of others that are actually wearing this fragrance. When it comes to the actual sillage, I mentioned last week with with Enclave that it sits between a moderate and body. So it's definitely not a body scent, and it's definitely not at that moderate level. It sort of fluctuates between it, and it probably has a level of it ebbs and flows in the sense that at the moment that, and again, as I said with my crew, as he started to sort of perspire and as we're moving around, I could smell his fragrance, and that was probably about 5 or 6 hours into the actual wearing the actual fragrance. When it comes to love, my personal love on this is high. I really, really love this fragrance for the versatility of it, for the unique scent that it has. I do enjoy it. It does have longevity. So yeah, my love for it is quite high. My wife, on the other hand, moderate. So she's around the 50, 60% mark. However, when I wear it around family, friends, etc., I do get a lot of compliments. People actually respond to the fragrance. They can pick that up. And finally, pricing. So yeah, it's a MEMO, so you are paying for the quality of oil, for the actual product itself. And I'm going to say you're also paying for the packaging, everything else. It's a beautifully presented product. I mean, the box is fully leather. I know you're not buying it for the box necessarily, but it's all part of that package and I guess the awesomeness of the product. So that's it. What are your thoughts? Have you smelled ocean leather? Do you have an opinion? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to know. So make sure that you let me know what your thoughts are. If you are an Australian, don't forget, you can get 10% off via Libertine. And Libertine actually house the full range of the MEMOs here in Australia. And recently, and I put it on one of my stories, one of my NFC subscribers actually used the code, and she posted a video of the amount of samples that Libertine sent across to them. So again, not only do you get the 10% off, but these guys are just awesomely generous when it comes to extra samples that they throw in to, well, for you to experience other perfumes. Don't forget to subscribe. Please join the Niche Fragrance Collector family. I've really enjoyed the connection that we're actually developing when it comes to this conversation on niche fragrances. And don't forget to place your comments. I want to know your thoughts on anything to do with niche perfumery from around the world. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on the next video.
Shine.